Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. Today I get to treat myself. I had my wife pour a blind of 4 different Weller products from the Weller line, and they include the Antique 107 bottle, which I have on my shelf, so that's my own bottle. And then very generously, one of our Patreon supporters and Discord supporters sent me samples of their own Weller products as well. So we've got Foolproof, the blue label, Foolproof. We've got the black label, which is the 12-year, 90 proof. And we even have 2023, last year's CYPB, Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. So big shout out to DMC. Thank you so much for sending those samples in. I'm excited to dive into these today. So I get to kind of treat myself to a full lineup of different Weller products. So my wife went ahead and poured the blind for me. They're behind me on the table, coffee table, so I'll dive into them. And I don't know what order they're in, but I'm going to taste all of them. And then I'm going to decide which one I like the best. And I'm curious to see, I've never done a Weller blind. So this will be my first time, so we'll see which one of them I like the best. You know, I think the best, off the top of my head, the best Weller pour I ever had was actually a Foolproof blue label Weller, but it was a restaurant pick that one of our supporters, Matt, so he went with me to Kentucky on our last Kentucky trip, and he brought his restaurant pick. It was like he knew somebody in the restaurant industry, and they had done a pick for their bar. And he got one of the bottles, and it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Very cherry forward. So we'll see if any of these can compete with that one. So I'm going to take notes as I go, and we'll rank these first to last. And they're going to be my left to right. It'll be glass 1, 2, 3, 4 as I turn around and face them. I mean, it already smells like everything I already come to expect out of Weller. Sweet confectioner sugar on the nose. Vanilla bean ice cream. Reminds me of that combo of like fruit and cream together, like peaches and cream, cherries and cream. You know, and you get a nice bright fruit of some kind in cream. Always get that on the nose of a good Weller product. Let's try it. Admittedly, first sip of the day, a little bit of bite on the tail end of the palate. Coats the back end of the mouth quite thickly. Long, sweet finish on it. Yeah, a nice little subtle butterscotch there too on the palate. And a subtle sweet oak on the finish. All right, we will always circle back to glass number 1, because naturally when it's your first pour of the day, you may taste certain things differently when you revisit it and your palate's a little more acclimated. We'll come back to it. Glass number 2, much lighter on the nose. First thing that came to mind was actually like zest of lemon. You know, I peel lemons a lot, juice lemons a lot, use a lot of citrus for like cocktail mixing, especially lemon goes really well in whiskey cocktails. So every time I juice a lemon, the oils get expressed. You know, you squeeze it, juice the lemon, and you see like this little puff of cloud almost come out of the lemon, and then it smells so good. Those oils getting expressed. That's the first thing that came to mind. And a little hint of like a note of wheat bread in there too. Let's taste it. Doesn't seem quite as hot, quite as peppery as the first one was. First one seemed to have a bigger punch to it. And the flavors on the first one were further back in the mouth. These ones are more on the tip of the tongue and right here on these the front parts of your cheeks. That's where it's hanging out. Yeah, white sugar sweetness. A little bit of that lemon zest comes through too. Almost like a lemon bar. You know those lemon bars? They got like the pastry dough on the bottom, that layer of that lemon filling that's really yummy with the sugar sprinkled on top. That's what it reminds me of. Definitely a less assertive than the first one, but tasty. Shall we move on to the third? Okay, the nose on this one is rich. Think of like that butterscotch pudding was the first thing that came to mind. Remember when we were kids, go to school, and they had butterscotch pudding. The lunch lady would get a scoop of it, slap it down on your tray. Butterscotch pudding on the nose. Also getting a little bit more of that ethanol nose on this too. A little more of like an oak funkiness on it too. Think of a damp warehouse. Let's try it. Less fruity than the other two. I think of bubblegum sweetness. That pink chewy bubblegum. Tail end of the palate. A little bit of that spice comes through. Like a crisp, clean spice. Almost like a wintergreen kind of a feeling in your mouth. It's a sweet, very sweet finish, but it's short-lived. On second sip, as I let it sit there, that funky warehouse note does start to come forward a little bit more on the finish. And I like that. Okay, on to the last. This one is more buttery caramel on the nose. Less butterscotch, more buttery caramel. Thick and gooey. The nose reminds me of a donut fresh from a bakery. You know, that yeasty bread with the caramel frosting on the top. And some of that ethanol heat too. Yeah, that yeasty donut note for sure is like the most prominent thing in there for me. With that caramel frosting. I might even say just the slightest hint of hazelnut on the nose too. All right, let's try it. That buttery caramel's lost on the palate. Doesn't come through. A little bit of caramel later in the finish. But I really wish it was like the start of the show. Really wanted that buttery caramel and that yeasty donut to come through on the palate real clear. Some of those yeasty notes are still there. A little less sweet though. Almost think more of like a lemon, or not lemon, like an orange peel, orange zest in there too. Overall, that one falls a little flat for me. All right, I'm gonna give these another pass and just sort of try to revisit my tasting notes, validate some feelings, and then I'll start ranking them. Coming back to number one, I'm getting like a cherry cola note that I wasn't getting before. And I don't even drink soda. It's been a long time since I've drank like actual soda pop. But I get a cherry cola note on that nose. All right, I think I've made my selections. So I'm gonna call these glasses from my left to right that I tasted in order tonight, glasses A through D. So A, B, C, and D, and I'm gonna rank them first to fourth, 1 to 4. Okay, my top two were the hardest ones to distinguish because they were really neck and neck for me. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say first place goes to glass C, the third one I tried tonight. So glass C is gonna take first place. Second place goes to glass A, the first one that I tasted. That's gonna be my second pick. My third place is gonna be glass B, my second one that I drank tonight. That's gonna take third place. And last place is gonna go to the fourth and final glass that I tasted tonight, glass D. So now I gotta reveal them. I gotta find out what they were. So we'll start with dead last and we'll work our way forward. Okay, so glass D took fourth place. And looking under the coaster, I can see that this is the Weller 12-year, 90 proof. Weller 12-year, 90 proof. That's gonna take last place. Okay, interesting. So that is the black label bottle. Okay, so that's dead last. Interesting, so the 12-year expression, obviously it's got a lot of age on it, but they proof it down quite a bit. And I wonder if that's why it fell flat for me. It didn't last long enough. The notes that were in there weren't terrible, they just didn't cling for very long, and I kind of wanted them to. So that bottle, the MSRP on it, the suggested retail price is $70. All right, so let's check third place. Okay, so third place went to glass B, the second one I tried tonight. That took third place. That is gonna be Weller Antique 107. I expected this one to finish a little bit higher, honestly. That surprises me a little bit. That one does retail for, well, suggested retail price. MSRP is $50 for Antique 107. I paid $80 for mine. I probably shouldn't have, but I did. Because traditionally, I really like the 107. So, retails for less than the 12-year 90 proof, which took dead last. So 107 takes third place. All right, moment of truth. Let's check second place. Taking second place is glass A, the first one I tried tonight. That one is gonna be Weller Full Proof. Okay, so MSRP for this bottle is also $50. Okay, interesting. So both of the $50 MSRP bottles ended up beating the $70 MSRP bottle. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so second place goes to Weller Full Proof, which means obviously first place is going to go to the CYPB, Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. That's interesting to me. That's wild that that one won the blind because that one got such mixed reviews. Yep, there it is, CYPB, first place. Wow, I did not expect that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the CYPB is also MSRP, should be around $50 too. I've seen it for 60, but probably at this point only gonna get it on the secondary market, most likely, and that would probably run you like $300 to $500. In which case I would say, do not buy that. Don't do that unless you literally have screw you money on hand. I don't. The CYPB taking first place tonight, I did not have that on my bingo card. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't expect that. I thought this would be either third or fourth. So the fact that they got first place really surprises me. But what they did with this one was they took in community feedback, and this one was crafted perfectly to match the feedback that they got from people who were visiting the distillery. So it ended up being, if I'm not mistaken, an 8-year-old Weller expression that was stored at the highest floor of the warehouse. Okay, high and dry. And that's gonna be 95 proof. I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked. If you'd asked me to guess how I would rank these, my guess is that I would have had Antique 107 in first place, Foolproof in second place, CYPB in third, and then the 90 proof for 12 year in fourth. I would not have guessed that CYPB would take the gold tonight, but alas it did. And that's what I love about blinds, is that they are sometimes really unpredictable. So there you have it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know if you've had any Weller products, how you would rank the ones that you've had. Maybe the easiest thing would be, tell me your favorite Weller product you've ever tried and your least favorite Weller product you've ever tried. All in all, I thoroughly enjoyed this blind. Thank you so much, DMC, for sending in the samples for me to try. Appreciate that so much. Big shout out to anybody, whether you're in our Discord or Patreon group, and you've sent me samples. Hey, that is so helpful because it helps me pump out content on the channel, because honestly, you can't have every bourbon on your shelf. It's just the way it is, unless you're stupid rich. We all make choices about which ones we're going to buy and which ones we're going to pass on. So the fact that you guys send in samples to me helps me keep the content flowing, so I can do 3 to 4 uploads a week and not worry about it. So I am so grateful to you guys. If you've got stuff that you want to send me, make sure you join the Discord if you want to see your favorite whiskeys represented on the channel. Big shout out to some of you guys who have sent me the full core lineup of a local distillery. So that's how I did the Redwood Empire. That's how I did Westward, which I loved. Westward. That was just local people who were like, hey, we've got a distillery here that's really banging. Let me send you a sample. Or the guy that sent me the Westward stuff, he sent me every bottle from their core collection, not samples, full bottles. I was blown away. That stuff is amazing. I'm so grateful to you guys who send me stuff like that. It's so cool. Hey, if you want to join our Discord, totally free. Check the link in the description. Get involved in our conversations. Talk bourbon, talk whiskey, talk life. We love to have conversations there and connect with one another over a shared interest. And feel free to check out the Patreon group. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters for funding the bottles I do pick up for the channel. You're the reason I get to do this. And you can join for as little as $1 a month if you want to. But this has been fun. Cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. Be warm and well fed. I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.